Imagine discovering that the result you were fighting for was never waiting at the end of the path. Every challenge seemed to suggest that something important remained unfinished. Every obstacle appeared to stand between you and the life you were trying to reach. Yet a deeper possibility exists. What if the struggle was never about earning the victory? What if it was about seeing it? Quantum reality often reveals that appearances can hide a very different truth beneath the surface. The same may be true of your own journey. Beneath uncertainty, setbacks, and endless searching may exist a hidden outcome that has been present from the very beginning. Today we explore the quantum secret of a victory hidden in plain sight and the astonishing realization that you may have already won. 1. The invisible success hidden inside what looked like failure. Human beings are taught to recognize success through visible results. A goal is achieved, a reward is received, a desired outcome appears. The mind looks at these events and calls them victories. Everything else is often placed into a different category. Missed opportunities, unexpected endings, rejected plans, and broken expectations are quickly labeled as failures. Yet reality does not always organize itself according to these labels. Some of the most important transformations begin disguised as disappointments. At the moment they occur, they seem to take something away. A door closes, a plan collapses, a path suddenly disappears. The mind immediately interprets the event through the lens of loss. It sees only what failed to happen. What remains hidden is everything that event prevented. Imagine trying to assemble a puzzle while seeing only one piece at a time. A single piece appears meaningless. It may even seem misplaced. Only when more of the picture becomes visible does its purpose reveal itself. Life often unfolds in a similar way. An experience that appears negative in one chapter may become essential in a later chapter. A setback may redirect attention toward a possibility that would otherwise have remained invisible. A rejection may remove a path that was never aligned with where life was truly moving. Quantum physics revealed that appearances can be misleading. What seems obvious from one perspective can look entirely different when viewed from a deeper level. Events that appear disconnected often reveal hidden relationships. Outcomes that seem random often emerge from processes that were invisible while they were unfolding. The same principle applies to personal experience. Many people spend years carrying the memory of a failure without realizing they are carrying the beginning of a victory. The relationship that ended created space for a different future. The opportunity that disappeared redirected energy toward something more meaningful. The plan that collapsed forced a perspective that could never have emerged through success alone. The visible result looked negative. The deeper movement was constructive. This is why some events only reveal their value after enough distance has passed. The mind judges them too early. It focuses on immediate appearances. It cannot yet see the larger pattern forming beyond the horizon of the present moment. The hidden success was never located in the outcome itself. It was hidden inside the transformation the outcome created. And this changes the meaning of failure completely. What looked like defeat may have been a form of redirection. What looked like loss may have been a hidden opening. What looked like an ending may have been the moment a deeper victory quietly began. The challenge is that the victory often remains invisible while the event is occurring. Only later does the pattern become clear. Only later does the apparent failure reveal its secret. And sometimes the greatest success in your life is not the thing that happened. It is the thing that never happened because something wiser quietly led you somewhere else. 2. Why reality kept revealing clues you never recognized. There is a strange pattern that many people only notice when they look back on their lives. Certain themes appeared repeatedly. Certain questions refused to disappear. Certain encounters seemed ordinary at the time but later revealed unexpected importance. The clues were there, yet they remained invisible, not because reality was hiding them, but because attention was focused somewhere else. The mind is usually occupied with immediate goals. It looks for specific outcomes, specific answers, and specific forms of success. Anything that does not match those expectations is often ignored. Valuable information passes by unnoticed simply because it arrives in a form that was not anticipated. Imagine searching a crowded room for a friend wearing a blue jacket. Your attention becomes so focused on finding blue that you completely overlook the person standing nearby wearing red. The person was never hidden. Your expectations determined what you could see. Human experience often works in the same way. Reality continuously presents information, conversations, coincidences, interests, unexpected opportunities, and recurring patterns appear throughout life. Yet the mind filters experience according to what it believes is important. As a result, clues are often dismissed as irrelevant. Quantum theory revealed that observation plays a powerful role in what becomes visible. The way attention is directed influences what emerges from the vast field of possibilities surrounding us. Perception is not a passive process, it actively shapes experience. This principle can be applied to personal growth as well. Many of the answers people seek first arrive as subtle signals rather than dramatic revelations, a repeated curiosity, an unexpected fascination, a subject that keeps returning, a path that continues drawing attention despite repeated attempts to ignore it. These clues rarely announce themselves. They appear quietly. The mind often overlooks them because it expects something larger, something more obvious, something impossible to miss. Yet the most important directions in life frequently begin as whispers rather than declarations. Looking backward, people often discover that reality has been pointing toward something for years. The signs appeared through interests, encounters, obstacles, and opportunities. The pattern was present long before it became visible. The clues were never absent. Recognition was absent, and that changes the way the journey is understood. Reality was not withholding answers. It was offering them in forms that the mind was not prepared to recognize. The victory may not have been hidden because it was distant. It may have been hidden because it arrived quietly, appearing again and again, waiting for awareness to finally notice what had been there all along. 3. The quantum paradox of chasing what was already yours. There is a paradox hidden inside many human struggles. The harder people chase certain things, the more distant those things seem to become. They chase confidence. They chase peace. They chase a purpose. They chase fulfillment. They chase a future version of themselves that appears wiser, stronger, or more complete. The pursuit feels logical because the mind assumes that what is being sought exists somewhere ahead. It imagines a future point where everything will finally make sense. A future moment where the missing piece will arrive. Yet this assumption contains a hidden contradiction. What if the very act of chasing creates the feeling that something is missing? Imagine searching your house for a valuable object. You move from room to room convinced it has been lost. Hours pass before you discover it was in your pocket the entire time. The search felt necessary because of an incorrect assumption. The object seemed absent, so effort appeared justified. The moment the assumption collapses, the search collapses with it. Quantum theory revealed that reality does not always behave according to ordinary expectations. Things that appear separate can reveal hidden relationships. What seems absent from one perspective may be present from another. Observation itself can change the way reality is understood. Human experience often contains a similar mystery. Many people spend years searching for qualities that have been quietly present all along. A person searches for worthwhile already possessing it. A person searches for meaning while living inside it. A person searches for awareness while using awareness to conduct the search. The paradox is easy to miss because attention remains fixed on the imagined destination. The mind keeps projecting fulfillment into the future. It creates an image of what completion should look like and then begins pursuing that image. The pursuit becomes endless because every achievement simply creates a new image. A new goal appears. A new standard appears. A new destination appears. The horizon keeps moving. The search continues. Then a different possibility emerges. What if the victory was never hidden in a future achievement? What if it existed beneath the belief that something essential was missing? This realization changes everything. The search no longer revolves around acquiring something absent. It becomes an investigation into what has already been present but overlooked. The mind expected a treasure waiting at the end of the road. It discovers that the road itself was built upon the very thing it was seeking. That is the quantum paradox. You were chasing what was already yours, not because the journey was meaningless, but because the journey was gradually revealing a truth that could not be recognized at the beginning. The victory was not waiting ahead. The victory was hidden beneath the assumption that you had not already won. And the moment that assumption begins to dissolve, the entire search starts looking very different from the way it appeared before. 4. The deeper intelligence operating behind every detour. They often notice something surprising. The path they imagined would lead them forward is rarely the path they actually traveled. Plans changed, goals changed, directions changed. Entire chapters appeared that were never part of the original vision. What seemed certain disappeared. What seemed impossible emerged. The journey unfolded in ways the mind could never have predicted. At the time, many of these changes felt like detours. A door closed, an opportunity vanished, a relationship ended, a project failed, a carefully designed plan collapsed without warning. The mind immediately interpreted these events as interruptions. They appeared to stand in the way of progress. They seemed to delay success. They seemed to create unnecessary complications. Yet years later, many people discover something remarkable. The detour was not separate from the path. The detour was the path. What looked like an interruption was quietly moving life in a direction that could not yet be understood. Imagine looking at a single thread in a massive tapestry. The thread twists unexpectedly. It changes direction. It disappears beneath other threads. Viewed in isolation, its movement appears random. Only when the entire tapestry becomes visible does the purpose of those movements reveal itself. What seemed chaotic was participating in a larger design. Human experience often unfolds in a similar way. The mind naturally focuses on immediate outcomes. It judges events according to present expectations. If something supports a goal, it is labeled positive. If something disrupts a goal, it is labeled negative. This method seems reasonable, yet it contains a limitation. The mind sees only a small portion of the picture. It sees the current chapter. It does not see the chapters that have not yet arrived. Quantum theory transformed the way reality is understood because it revealed that events cannot always be interpreted in isolation. Systems influence one another in ways that are not immediately visible. Relationships often contain information hidden from local observation. The larger pattern frequently reveals qualities that individual parts cannot explain on their own. Life appears to operate according to a similar principle. A person may lose an opportunity only to discover later that accepting it would have prevented something far more meaningful. A failure may force the development of qualities that become essential in the future. A delay may create conditions that allow a completely different possibility to emerge. The visible event appears disappointing. The deeper movement remains hidden. This is why certain experiences only reveal their significance after enough time has passed. Distance changes perception. The mind that once saw a setback begins seeing preparation. The mind that once saw confusion begins seeing direction. The mind that once saw a detour begins seeing guidance. This does not mean every event is perfectly understood. It means reality often contains more intelligence than immediate appearances suggest. Consider how a river moves through a landscape. From above, its path may seem strange. It bends unexpectedly. It curves around obstacles. It changes direction repeatedly. Someone focused on a single section of the river might assume it has lost its way. Yet the river is not lost. Its movement is responding to conditions larger than any individual bend. Human journeys contain similar movements. Life rarely follows a straight line. It turns, it adjusts, it redirects. The mind often resists these changes because it prefers certainty. It wants a clear destination and a predictable route. It wants assurance that every step is leading exactly where it expects. Reality frequently operates differently. It introduces experiences that appear unrelated. It creates encounters that seem accidental. It closes paths that once appeared essential. Then, much later, the hidden relationships become visible. A conversation that seemed insignificant becomes important. A setback that seemed destructive becomes valuable. A delay that seemed frustrating becomes necessary. The pattern reveals itself gradually. This creates a fascinating possibility. What if there is a deeper intelligence operating within the unfolding of experience? Not an intelligence issuing instructions from outside life, but an intelligence expressed through the relationships between events themselves, an intelligence visible in the way challenges create growth, an intelligence visible in the way endings create beginnings, an intelligence visible in the way obstacles redirect attention toward possibilities that would otherwise remain unseen. Most people search for intelligence in outcomes. They assume meaning exists only when the desired result appears. Yet the deeper intelligence often reveals itself through the process. It reveals itself through unexpected turns. It reveals itself through changing circumstances. It reveals itself through the countless adjustments that shape a life without announcing their purpose in advance. Imagine reading only one page from a novel. A particular event may seem pointless. A character's decision may seem unnecessary. A sudden complication may appear frustrating. Then the story continues. The meaning becomes clear. The earlier event was preparing something. The complication was creating conditions for a future revelation. The apparent detour was serving the larger narrative. Life often feels similar when viewed across longer periods. Experiences that once seemed disconnected begin revealing hidden relationships. Events that seemed random begin revealing patterns. Detours begin revealing direction. And gradually a realization emerges. The path was never as fragmented as it appeared. The intelligence guiding it was never absent. It was operating beneath the surface of immediate perception, quietly arranging experiences into a larger pattern than the mind could see while living through it. The greatest surprise is not that detours exist. The greatest surprise is discovering that many of them carried you exactly where you needed to go, not by following the route you expected, but by following a deeper movement that understood something your present perspective could not yet recognize. And when that realization arrives, the entire journey begins looking different. The obstacles look different. The delays look different. The unexpected turns look different. Because what once appeared as mistakes begin revealing themselves as essential parts of a victory that was forming long before you could see its shapes. 5. The moment the search stops creating the illusion of absence. Searching feels natural. The mind is constantly moving toward something. A better future, a clearer answer, a deeper understanding, a stronger version of itself. Even when one goal is achieved, another immediately appears. The movement continues. The search changes direction, but it rarely stops. There is always another destination waiting beyond the current moment. This seems completely normal. After all, growth involves learning. Discovery involves exploration. Progress involves movement. Yet hidden beneath many forms of searching lies an assumption so familiar that it often goes unnoticed. The assumption is that something essential is missing. The search begins because absence is believed to exist. A person searches for peace because peace appears absent. A person searches for meaning because meaning appears absent. A person searches for fulfillment because fulfillment appears absent. The destination becomes important because the present moment has been defined as incomplete. This subtle assumption shapes the entire experience. The searcher and the sought become separated. One exists here, the other exists somewhere else. The distance feels real because the belief creating the distance remains unquestioned. Imagine standing in front of a mirror while believing your reflection is trapped inside the glass. You might spend years trying to reach it. You might develop methods, strategies, and theories about how to cross the barrier. Every effort would seem reasonable because the original assumption remained intact. The problem would not be the lack of effort. The problem would be the misunderstanding. Human consciousness often contains a similar dynamic. The mind imagines an ideal state existing somewhere beyond the present. Then it organizes life around reaching that state. The search becomes endless because every destination immediately generates another destination. A person believes happiness will arrive after achieving a goal. The goal is achieved. For a brief moment, satisfaction appears. Then attention moves again. A new objective emerges. A new condition is imagined. The search continues. The pattern repeats because the search itself is quietly reinforcing the idea that fulfillment exists elsewhere. Quantum physics revealed that observation influences what becomes visible. The framework through which reality is viewed shapes the experience of reality itself. Perspective is not merely passive, it participates in what is perceived. The same principle applies to the inner world. When the mind continuously looks for something missing, experience begins reflecting that assumption. Attention becomes trained to notice absence. It scans reality for what has not yet been achieved. It compares the present to imagined futures. It measures itself against ideals that do not exist anywhere except in thought. The result is a persistent feeling that something remains unfinished. Yet a fascinating shift occurs when the structure of the search becomes visible. The person begins noticing that every imagined destination appears within awareness right now. The future appears as a thought right now. The goal appears as an image right now. The ideal version of life appears as a concept right now. The search itself appears right now. Everything the mind is chasing is already appearing within the field of present awareness. This realization changes the entire dynamic. The search is no longer viewed as movement towards something absent. It begins looking more like a pattern of thought generating the experience of absence. Imagine chasing your own shadow across an open field. The faster you run, the more the shadow appears to remain ahead. The effort seems justified because the distance appears real, yet the distance is created by the relationship between perception and movement. The shadow is never actually separate from you. Many psychological pursuits operate in a similar way. The mind keeps projecting fulfillment ahead of itself. Then it spends years pursuing the projection. The future becomes filled with promises. The present becomes filled with striving. The search continues because the destination remains imagined as distant. Then something extraordinary happens. The search slows down. Not because a final answer has been discovered, not because every question has been solved, because the assumption behind the search begins dissolving. The belief that something essential is missing loses its certainty. The present moment stops being treated as a temporary waiting room for a future life. Awareness begins noticing what has been available all along, not through effort, not through achievement, through recognition. The feeling is similar to realizing that music has been playing in the background for hours. The sound was always present. Attention simply had not noticed it. The awareness, clarity, and presence people spend years pursuing often reveal themselves in the same way. They are not created. They are not created. They are not created. They are recognized. This does not mean life stops evolving. It does not mean goals disappear. It does not mean curiosity vanishes. The difference lies in the absence of psychological distance. The search no longer depends on the belief that fulfillment exists somewhere else. The future remains. The journey remains. The unfolding of experience remains, yet the sense of incompleteness begins fading, and with it, the illusion of absence begins fading as well. The search was never the problem. The hidden assumption behind the search was the problem. The assumption that what was being sought did not already exist in some form within the very awareness conducting the search. The moment that assumption weakens, a profound shift occurs. The destination stops appearing separate from the traveler. The answer stops appearing separate from the question. The victory stops appearing separate from the one seeking it. And in that moment, the search ceases to create the illusion that something important is missing. What remains is the recognition that much of what was pursued so intensely had been present beneath the search from the very beginning, quietly waiting to be noticed. 6. The discovery that the finish line was present from the start. There is a moment that arrives in certain journeys when everything begins to look different. The events remain the same, the memories remain the same, the challenges remain the same, the path that was traveled remains exactly as it was. Yet something fundamental changes. The meaning of the journey transforms. What once appeared to be a race toward a distant destination begins revealing itself as something entirely different. Most people move through life with a powerful image in their minds. Somewhere ahead exists the moment when everything will finally come together, a future point where understanding arrives, a future point where fulfillment arrives, a future point where certainty arrives. The finish line is imagined as a location waiting in the distance. The present becomes the place of striving. The future becomes the place of completion. This perspective shapes countless decisions. It shapes ambitions, it shapes expectations, it shapes the way people interpret success and failure. Every step is measured against a destination that has not yet been reached. Every experience is evaluated according to whether it appears to move the person closer or farther away. Yet hidden within this way of seeing reality is a remarkable assumption. The assumption is that the finish line exists somewhere other than where you are. The assumption is that completion belongs to the future. The assumption is that victory has not yet happened. This assumption feels natural because the mind understands life through sequences. First comes the effort, then comes the reward. First comes the search, then comes the discovery. First comes the journey, then comes the arrival. The structure appears logical, yet there are certain realizations that do not follow this pattern. There are discoveries that do not arrive as something new. They arrive as recognition. Imagine reading a mystery novel. Throughout the story, clues appear everywhere. Conversations contain hidden meanings. Small details seem insignificant. Certain events appear unrelated. The reader continues moving forward, searching for answers. Then the final chapter arrives. Suddenly everything changes. Not because new information appears on every page, because the reader finally sees how the information was connected. The clues were present from the beginning. The solution was woven throughout the entire story. The understanding was hidden in plain sight. Many of the deepest realizations in human experience unfold in exactly this way. The mind spends years searching for a future moment of completion. Then a different perspective emerges. The person begins looking back. They notice that every stage of the journey contained something they thought existed only at the end. The peace they were searching for appeared briefly in countless ordinary moments. The awareness they were searching for was present during every experience. The meaning they were searching for shaped every step they took. The finish line was not absent. It was unrecognized. Quantum physics revealed that reality often behaves very differently from the way appearances suggest. What seems obvious at one level of observation can reveal an entirely different structure when viewed from another perspective. The visible surface does not always reveal the deeper pattern. Human experience contains a similar mystery. The mind sees movement. Awareness sees presence. The mind sees distance. Awareness sees immediacy. The mind sees a future destination. Awareness sees what already exists. This creates a profound paradox. The finish line appears to exist ahead because the mind keeps projecting completion into the future. Yet every imagined future appears within present awareness. Every image of victory appears within present awareness. Every vision of fulfillment appears within present awareness. The destination is being experienced now as an idea. The search is happening now. The awareness of both is here now. This realization begins dissolving the illusion that victory belongs exclusively to the future. Imagine standing in the center of a vast circle while searching for its center. You move in every direction. You study maps. You calculate distances. You search endlessly. The search continues until one simple fact becomes visible. You never left the center. The movement occurred within it. Life often contains a similar revelation. People spend years trying to arrive at themselves, trying to arrive at peace, trying to arrive at wholeness, trying to arrive at the truth. The journey becomes exhausting because every destination appears distant. Then something extraordinary happens. The framework creating the distance begins collapsing. The person realizes that awareness was present before the search began. Awareness remained during every struggle. Awareness remained during every success. Awareness remained during every setback. The thing being sought never disappeared. The search was unfolding inside it. This changes the meaning of victory completely. Victory is no longer understood as a future event waiting to happen. It becomes the recognition of what was already present beneath every experience. The challenges still mattered. The lessons still mattered. The journey still mattered. Yet the purpose of the journey was not to create victory. The purpose was to reveal it, like clouds slowly moving away from the sun. The process was not creating light, it was uncovering what had always been shining. This is why the final realization feels so different from ordinary achievement. Ordinary achievement adds something. This realization removes something. It removes the belief that completion was absent. It removes the belief that fulfillment was distant. It removes the belief that victory existed only beyond the horizon of the future. And when those beliefs begin to disappear, a startling truth becomes visible. The finish line was never standing at the end of the road. It was quietly present within every step. The victory was not waiting for you somewhere ahead. The victory was woven into your existence before the search even began. The awareness seeking the destination was already resting within the reality it hoped to reach. And that is the final secret. You did not arrive at the finish line. You discovered that the finish line had been surrounding the entire journey from the very beginning. The race was real. The experiences were real. The lessons were real. But the distance between you and the victory was never what it seemed. Because in the deepest sense, what you were seeking was present from the start, patiently waiting to be recognized. The most powerful discoveries rarely arrive as something new. They arrive as a recognition of something that was present all along. Throughout this journey, a different possibility has emerged. The victory was not hidden at the end of the road. It was hidden beneath the belief that you were incomplete, behind, or still waiting for permission to arrive. Every challenge, every delay, and every unexpected turn may have been part of a larger pattern leading toward a realization rather than a destination. The moment you stop measuring yourself against an imagined future, a deeper truth becomes visible. What you were seeking was never separate from you. The finish line was not ahead. The victory was woven into the beginning, and the awareness of that truth changes everything.